I swear to God I try. I swear to God I try.
At just 20 years old, London-based singer, songwriter, and poet Arlo Parks has just released one of 2021's most anticipated albums, Collapsed in Sunbeams. A record full of soothing vocals, warm guitar chords, and neo-soul which tackles sensitive topics like mental health and love. She counts among her fans former First Lady Michelle Obama, who playlisted her, and she's regularly name-checked by international pop sensation Billie Eilish. France 24 caught up with her to find out more about her music and her links to Paris.
Suddenly he started screaming.
Arlo Parks, thank you so much for being with us on France 24. Your new album has just come out to rave reviews. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I feel amazing. It's been interesting to be living in lockdown and just being basically at my parents' house, just like playing Scrabble, reading my books, but then having, my work reaching all these people. It's really beautiful to have that.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the choice of the title of your album? It's called Collapsed in Sunbeams. I believe it was inspired by a book, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly. So there's this book called On Beauty by Zadie Smith. And I've always loved her writing because it's very kind of sensitive and sensory and human. And I read this phrase, collapsed in sunbeams, and there was something very bittersweet about it. It felt like, somebody was being overwhelmed by emotion and you're not sure whether it's negative or positive. And a lot of the stories in the album take place during summer in London. So it just spoke to me.
And your music certainly does feel warm. There's a very summery feel to it. It's very comforting in these weird times we're living in. A lot of us are in lockdown or at least forced to stay home a lot. You've got a really wide range of music taste. I've read that you've mentioned Elliott Smith, DJ Shadow, Radiohead, Aphex Twin, and yet you gravitate toward this neo-soul, lo-fi style. What inspired you to follow that style on this record?
Yeah, I think honestly, the way that I wrote this album was very much based on instinct and intuition. One day I would wake up and I'd be like, okay, I'm listening to Serge Gainsbourg.
Je vais et je viens.
I'm listening to Daft Punk. Another day, I'd be listening to TLC. I think for me, it was about just approaching it on a song-by-song basis and reflecting how eclectic my taste is in how broad the record is.
It's such a wonderful sound. It's such a good soundtrack for this moment we're in. And what I love about it is you've got these great little gothy references at times. You talk about painting eyes like Robert Smith from The Cure to you talk about Sylvia Plath as well, the feminist writer. You're freshly out of your teens. What were you like as a teenager?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, it wasn't that long ago, only a few months. But I guess I was a happy teenager. I was a very kind of thoughtful, observant teenager. I played a lot of sport, did a lot of like field hockey and running. And I was always interested in writing. I spent a lot of time just in my bedroom writing plays and short stories. And I was just friends with like all kinds of people. I just gravitated towards like, I guess, people who were generally artistic and interested in film and fashion.
Wouldn't it be lovely to feel worth something, huh? I know you can't let go of anything at the moment. Just know it won't hurt so much forever. It won't hurt so much. Won't hurt so much forever. It won't hurt so much. Won't hurt so much.
And your father is from Nigeria. Your mother is Franco-Chadian. What is your relationship with France? Because if I understand correctly, your mother was actually born in Paris.
Mhm.
What's your relationship to France and French culture?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, my mum grew up in Paris, and my family still now live in Paris and Compiègne. And I spent a lot of my summers kind of in the south of France, around like Nice, Valbonne, and like Biarritz as well. And I mean, France feels like a second home to me. You know, I spent a lot of my childhood kind of going back and forth on the Eurostar to Paris and kind of immersing myself in that culture. And when I was younger, my mum was playing people like Serge Lama and Claude François, and so that was very much a part of my upbringing.
And here on France 24, we actually have a lot of viewers in Chad and Nigeria. Are there any artists from there that you grew up listening to or that inspire you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my dad he played a lot of jazz mainly, but my dad also played a lot of Fela Kuti, who's kind of like one of the biggest artists to come out of Nigeria. And I think the beautiful thing about having parents from all these places is that I was very much open to all these different cultures and listening to everything from like 70s Zambian rock to like, you know, old French pop music. So I'm definitely blessed to have had that.
Lots of influences there in your sound. One thing I love about your album and the songs on your album is that a lot of it talks about figuring oneself out. There's one line in there that's really quite wonderful.
Making rainbows out of something painful.
Your album is vulnerable and strong at the same time. People are calling you the voice of a generation. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting one because I've always felt like I'm very much speaking about my stories and the things that I've lived. So I'm not sure whether I'm speaking for anybody, but at the same time, I think it's wonderful that people kind of see their stories in mine.
Some of these folks wanna make you cry, but you gotta trust how you feel inside and shine, and shine.
About a year ago, you were supposed to go on tour supporting Paramore's Hayley Williams, and then, of course, the COVID pandemic hit. How much do you enjoy live performances, and what's your relationship like with your audience?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's where I feel most at peace and at home. And what I love about playing live is that it's this kind of community of people in this safe space, and we're all experiencing something collectively at the same time. And I'm very close to my fans just because of the nature of the music that I write. I feel like I attract quite a lot of sensitive people and emotional people to my music. And that's a wonderful thing.
And so 2020 was a weird year. 2021 is proving to be also a weird year. Do you have any fun plans for this year? Anything that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, I do have a lot of shows, you know, booked in, but we'll see if those can happen. I'm working on a poetry collection at the moment and just getting into film as well in terms of directing and maybe acting and just collaborating a lot more and making a lot more music.
That sounds like wonderful plans, and I hope you'll be able to go on tour and come here to Paris so that we can hopefully meet you in real life. But thank you so much for being with us virtually on Encore today.
Yeah, thank you.
Won't call my friends. I'm persuaded that they'll leave it.